That was a bit of a mistake. But I really wanted to thank you, Senator Cardin, thanks to the Collective Empowerment Group, and to thank you all as community leaders for being here, for making this morning so special for all of us. As you know, President Obama started his own career organizing, community organizing with churches on the south side of Chicago. And so he really understands and he really gets the important role that your efforts and groups like this coming here have in strengthening communities. As the director of SBA's Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, it's my job to make sure that the agency is connecting with faith-based and other community-based groups to expand our reach and the effectiveness of our work. And this partnership is absolutely critical. The Small Business Administration is the agency that helps you grow, start, and succeed at business. And I'm sure many of this group is definitely aware that small business creates 2 out of every 3 jobs in this country, and 94% of the country's workforce works for small business. It's a critical part of your communities, and I know that they're a substantial share of the people that you work with every single day. And you know, we all know firsthand that the economy has been struggling to create jobs over the past few years, and we're seeing promising signs, just as the Senator mentioned this morning. And this progress is very much connected to the resilience and hard work of folks like yourselves and leaders in the business community across the country who have been in this work on the front lines day to day. I've enjoyed my time at the SBA because I get to work for a president who really understands small business. And he understands those challenges and he fights for them every single day. The thing that I really connect with about my agency is that the real heart of our agency isn't our office in Washington, D.C. We're a field agency. We have over 68 offices and thousands of resource partners and counselors across the country. So there is very much an SBA almost in many of the backyards in every district across the country, and we're very proud of that. And President Obama has shown a very strong commitment to the Small Business Administration and to helping small business owners. He has cut taxes 18 times for small businesses. He's elevated the position of SBA Administrator to the cabinet level. And many of you might actually be aware that we're in the process of welcoming our nominee, Maria Contreras-Sweet, on Monday. She will be sworn in as our new administrator. And he's made federal contracting a priority for small businesses and has overseen more money and contracts getting awarded than ever before. And under the President's watch, SBA has had 2 record years of lending and has supported over $130 billion to 225 small businesses in the past 5 years. But we know that we have a lot more to do. And this summer, the SBA, in accordance with, or working with the Minority Business Development Agency, the Department of Commerce, and Business First, are looking to roll out a new program called Business Sunday, and a new programming that is Ministries of Economic Development. And we're really looking to work with leaders like yourself to help make sure that our 68 offices and that our thousands of resource partners are actually working with the community and at that community level. And we're looking to be developing some resources, some toolkits, some talking points, and help connect a lot of our resources to a lot of your networks. And so I really wanted to thank you all for welcoming us here this morning. I really hope to enlist all of your support in this effort. We really feel that you are the key to helping small businesses grow, and we really want to work with you. And the best way to reach me is Sarah Bard, with an H, sarah.bard@sba.gov. The best way to reach me is to email me. And I look forward to being in touch, updating you about our program, and I hope to be working with all of you very soon. Thank you for your time.
Let me underscore one point here. One of the key things for small businesses is access to capital, which is a real challenge. No question about it. The SBA has incredible tools that are available. Most depend upon partnership from the private sector, that is banks. And again, I think collective empowerment can help us in getting more interest. The other problem, of course, are the regulators and how they rate and how they change the rating. We're working very closely with the Department of Treasury to have reasonable assessments. This is particularly, I don't know if any of you have run into this, but it's been a particular problem for faith-based borrowers that have run into problems on the rating of the loan with the regulators, because a lot of the revenue is not of a traditional sort that they normally rate. All these issues we're in the middle of working on. I serve on the Small Business Committee because I understand the importance of this to economic growth. We want you to know that we want to try to work out these issues. And that's why we have a contact direct on small business issues with the Small Business Administration. So, Sarah, thank you very much for your point. We'll now go to Nora DeLore from the Department of Agriculture.
Hi, thank you very much, Senator Cardin. Can you all hear me? You did that way. Hi, my name is Nora DeLure, and I'm the director of the Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships at the Department of Agriculture. I'd like to thank you very much for inviting me here today. It's quite an honor to be here and addressing you all. You may think, what does the Department of Agriculture, what sometimes people look at me and go, what is that? Faith-Based neighborhood partnerships, work with farmers. I have a friend that in Jess calls my office Farmers for Christ. It's not quite exactly what we do. At the Department of Agriculture, we're a large department, and we touch. We're a very large department. We do at Department of Agriculture a lot more than I think people are aware of. Our Secretary, Bill Sack, said that we are USDA every day and every way, because we have a vast variety of programs that folks aren't always aware of. One of the things I think that sometimes people think about this, that we touch the life just through food of 1 in 4 Americans every year. Right? 1 in 4 Americans every year is touched by some program that we run. It's the largest part of our budget is dedicated to feeding hungry Americans. And we do that through programs you're familiar with, programs like SNAP, programs like the National School Lunch Program, which feeds 31 million kids on an average school day. And a number of other, we do resources to food banks, we do resources to WIC, I'm sure you're familiar with Women, Infants, and Children, feeds half of the infants born in the United States. About that for a second, which means every baby that's born, it's not on WIC, another baby was just born that's going to benefit from the nutrition that we provide. These are very important programs. They're very important for the health of our nation, the future of our kids. We work very closely with the First Lady's office on the Let's Move initiative, which is the First Lady's initiative to end the childhood obesity within a generation, to make sure that we have a next generation of kids that can live long and fruitful lives. We work closely with our counterparts in the Department of Health and Human Services. Unfortunately, they could not be here today, so I'm going to give them a little shout out. They do conduct a program with NIH called We Can. They encourage. We Can encourages parents and youth to adopt wellness policies and practices and in their day-to-day lives, and they've been doing a lot of great outreach into the faith and community organizations to adopt this We Can curriculum. And I'm happy to connect you with any of their with my counterparts at HHS if you're interested in more about that. At Department of Agriculture, we I mentioned the National School Lunch Program. That feeds about 32 million kids on the average school day. Of those kids, about 21 million or so are fed at either for free or at a reduced price of about 40 cents per meal. That's in the average school day. But in the summertime, what happens to those kids? They're not at school, they do various things, they visit their grandparents, they have activities. But where are they getting their food? Where are those 21 million kids? What are they eating in the summertime? And we have a program that's there to help out with it. So they're not just, out on their own. We have a program it's a great program that's there to help out. It's called the Summer Food Service Program. It operates similarly to the National School Lunch Program, but it's in the summertime. But if we don't always have those schools to work with, we look for other partners to adopt this program. In the summertime, about 21 million kids. Only a little over 3 million kids we reach through the Summer Food Service Program. So there's a really big gap there that we are tirelessly trying to fill, but we cannot do it without your help. We talked about, Senator Cardin spoke about you know, federal staff. We actually have a very, very small staff through USDA dedicated to this. But we expand our reach, one with working through states and state offices of education and health and human services, but also through partners like yourselves. We cannot operate this program. We're not on the ground. We do not have enough folks to feed kids, but you reach kids. I know some of the folks in this room reach kids, or you know the folks that are reaching kids in the summertime. Maybe you're providing meals for them already. Maybe you have a camp of some sort. You're feeding them already. But you could partner with us, operate the summer food service program, and maybe some of those resources that you're dedicating to food could be dedicated to activities. It ties it back to Let's Move. The kids could be, doing more activities, running around. You could do reading programs. We partner with Department of Education to encourage summer reading, so you don't have that education loss in the summertime. That way kids have a great summer. So that's what I'm here to ask for your help. This is a program that, like I said, it's primarily dedicated to kids that are, to low-income kids that are at free and reduced price meals. If you're in an area that about 50% of the kids in the school district get free and reduced price meals, or in that school area, you can feed all the kids. We'll reimburse every meal. All of the kids, we reimburse their meals. If you're not in an area like that, there are a few other ways that we can work with you. If you're in an area that has less than that number of kids at free and reduced price meals, we can still work with you to get some of those to get meals to those kids. But like I said, we need your help. And this is a great time, I'm going on a little bit because I'm very passionate about this. This is a great time to be addressing you. We're kicking off this summer. It's coming up very, very quickly. We have a goal of, last summer, we served 7 million more meals across the country. This year, we're increasing that goal to 10 million more meals across the country. So we're looking to add new partners, new sponsors, new sites, greater outreach to more kids, and that's where you can come in. That's where you can help us. Summer food, I'm sorry, I'll start with www.summerfood.usda.gov. Will direct you to a number of resources. We have webinars, we have toolkits, how to get involved, depending on what level you're where you're working and what level you can contribute. So I highly encourage you to visit, again, www.summerfood.usda.gov to learn how you can adopt this program. Come the summertime, which is closely approaching us, even though we had snow, unbelievably, can't believe not this recently. Come the summertime, we also just need help once we've set up all these sites have been set up, just getting kids to the sites and working, even if you're just working with parents, where can they go? We work with whyhunger.org, and Why Hunger collects this information and can direct, where would you go if you were a kid trying to get to a site? Where would you go? Whyhunger.org provides that information. There's also an 800 number. I believe it's 800 Why Hunger, but I apologize for not having that exactly. I believe it's 800 Why Hunger. So please, I hope that some of you can help us reach that goal of increasing our summer meals by 10 million. We need your help. And please contact me if you'd like any further information. My name, Nora Delury, it's NORAH.DELUHERY at OSEC, O as in Sam, E as in Edward, C as in Charlie, .USDA.gov. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Say it one more time.
Yeah.
Nora, NORAH .DELUHERY at OSEC, O, S as in Sam, E as in Edward, C as in Charlie, .USDA.gov. Thank you very much for your time.
In this country, in the United States, it's just not acceptable for any child to have to go to bed hungry and not wake up with a nutritious meal. So we need your help, and the USDA is doing an incredible job in dealing with nutrition issues in our community. Reverend Tom, U.S. Department of Labor.
Okay. Thank you. Like my colleagues, I want to say thank you to Senator Cardin and the Collective Empowerment Group for this invitation for all of us to join me this morning. And I bring you greetings on our fearless leader and my boss, Secretary of Labor, Thomas Perez. U.S. Department of Labor, we basically focus on two areas of work. We do not create jobs. You talk to Sarah or you talk to Commerce. Basically, we're primarily responsible for doing job training across the country, working with our 3,000 one-stop centers that you may be familiar with the new name called the American Job Center. But basically, there are a couple of the American Job Centers in Prince George County. So those are the agencies that we partner with your local state work investment board and the local workforce investment board, again, to make sure that people who are underemployed or unemployed are able to find the skills and training that they need to respond to the job needs in your immediate area. So it's not a cookie cutter model. It really is dependent upon particular local job market. So again, if you haven't made a connection with our American Job Center, please do let them know that you are here and that you are willing to partner with them. I just want to use the example of Montgomery County American Job Center. The Montgomery Works has partnered with a lot of faith-based groups around what we call job clubs or employment ministry. I'll talk about that later. I just want to say some of our job centers are really reaching out to work with them. They welcome your participation and they're welcome to partner with you. The two areas of work that we primarily focus on, again, workforce development, job training, job training, job training. 80% of our grant funds go to the local state, to the state workforce investment board. The 20% that we set aside are specifically geared toward veterans, returning citizens, persons, both adults, young adults, teens who are coming out of prison. We're looking for, in terms of not only young people in terms of job training skills, etc., etc. The list is too long. The best place for you to find out what the grants are coming out of the Department of Labor is through our Employment and Training Administration. So if you go to www.dol.gov/ETA, www.dol.gov/ETA, you will find on their website all the list of the upcoming grants and what's expected and when the due date to apply. Second, you can archive. They list all the past grantees, so you can find out who got a grant for any of the programs that were funded during the last several years. So what I want to suggest, if you're a first-time applicant to the Department of Labor for a grant, take a look at who got the grants in your area before. Talk to them, learn from them, and also possibly partner with them. You can imagine we all get tons of requests for funding because of the great needs that your community is facing. But the reality is your grant will be favorably looked upon if you have a broad range of partners. That means partnering with the American Job Center. That means partnering with the local community college. That means partnering with other workforce development organizations, as well as community groups and other churches, synagogues, and mosques, and other religious groups. So the broader base of partnerships, the more favorable your grant application will be reviewed. And so we fund a lot of faith-based partners, but again, when you look at their application, they have a wide range of partners because we realize no individual congregation can do this job alone. And so it's a big task. I don't want to say more about the grants, but I do want to say something Senator Carlin mentioned. Secretary Perez, on the first Friday of each month, is Numbers Day, and that's when the Department of Labor announces the employment number and the unemployment rate. Again, the President has come a long way, and the chart, it keeps moving up in terms of people being employed and the unemployment rate, but we still got a long way to go. And one of the biggest challenges for our country is the long-term unemployed, people who have been unemployed for more than 6 months. And so in February, the President announced a $150 million grant from the Department of Labor to work with faith-based and community groups to address the long-term unemployed. Because again, unfortunately, many of these folks who are wanting to get back on their feet, wanting to work, are basically somewhat being discriminated against employers who look at their records and say, you've been unemployed for a year, you know, something must be wrong with you. There's nothing wrong. It's just the market has been tight, and it's been a challenging environment. And so I want to bring back the Job Club Employment Ministry I mentioned earlier. Our office works with 5,000 Job Club Employment Ministry. What is that? Secretary Perez just went to Cleveland last week to speak to a group of congregations who are doing this. There are 5,000 congregations and community groups that are providing support to people who've been especially long-term unemployed. What we hear from employers and as well as our American Job Center, when someone has been long-term unemployed, they come to the center or to the interview and they don't perform well. Why? Because they're down on their luck, they're depressed, they're feeling very helpless or hopeless, so it's kind of hard to shine after you've been rejected a dozen times. You know? So the Job Club Employment Ministry is nothing new. It's been around for 20, 30 years, but it's now exploded, and we'd be more than happy to work with you. And I have a sheet on here that'll provide you more information. McLean Bible Church in McLean, Virginia is the largest Job Club employment ministry in the United States. It has 1,000 members. These are not members of their church. And the church basically provides this as a ministry. So all the Job Club employment are a ministry, outreach ministry, not only to your members, but to the community. What the employment ministry and job clubs do that our American Job Center cannot do is provide hope. What they do is provide prayer, support. They try to help people get back on their feet and say, you know, you're not alone in this situation, because most of the members of the job clubs are themselves unemployed, long-term unemployed. So it's like an AA group or an NA group. They help each other to learn how to get back on their feet, to know that they can, you know, overcome the barriers they've been facing to try to get a job. And then once they help them with through prayers and spiritual support and small groups and mentoring, then they help them to take the first step, like, you know, again, how to interview, how to put your resume together. If you've been, you know, if you haven't written a resume in 20 years, you know, or you don't know how to use the computer, that's a big challenge. And so the job clubs try to complement what the American Job Center. So again, working with our American Job Centers, again, those candidates who come through the, those persons who come through the employment ministry job clubs, then are ready to go to the American Job Center and say, this is what I want to do. So they are much better prepared in terms of mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that's where you can play a vital role. So again, please let us know. So I've talked about grants, I've talked about the Job Club Employment Ministry. The last piece, and then I'll close, is that I didn't realize until I came to the Department of Labor 4.5 years ago, that we're the second largest enforcement agency behind the Department of Justice. Didn't know that. And basically, as you know, there are a lot of good employers, but sometimes in downtimes, there are a lot of unscrupulous employers who cheat and don't pay their employees the full wages. Or they're misclassifying, somebody finds out they've been misclassified independent contractor, and therefore not eligible for FICA. Or again, when they get hurt, they realize they don't have any access to any benefits because they're not an employee. And then some folks have been discriminated. And so again, we have three agencies that basically are enforcement agencies that look at wage and hour, health and safety issues, and Office Federal Contract Compliance, which addresses discrimination issues. So if you know of any of your members or people in your community who have been cheated out of their wages, who are being misclassified, who are working in very dangerous conditions, who have been discriminated, please call us. We'll direct you to the appropriate agency. So I'm glad that we can be, you know, we want to be a partner. Let me give you my contact information. Is Tom, T-O-M, .Philip, 1L, P-H-I-L-I-P, at DOL.gov. And my office number is 202-693-6030, 202-693-6030. And I have two fact sheets here. Feel free to pick them up. One is, describes all the functions of Department of Labor and the respective agency, and a specific fact sheet on our Job Club Employment Ministry program. Thank you.
One point in that markup I was talking about yesterday in the Senate Finance Committee, an amendment that I authored along with my friend Rob Portman, a Republican, expands the work opportunity tax credit, which is a credit that goes to employers for hiring hardcore individuals in the community. We expanded that to include long-term unemployed. Now, it's not enacted yet, but we hope to get that enacted this year. That would provide another tool for employers hiring long-term unemployed. I couldn't agree more with your comment. These people are just out of luck right now, and when employers are looking at someone who's been unemployed for a long time, they say, gee, maybe I shouldn't go in that direction. So this at least gives an extra incentive to hire someone who is more vulnerable to being able to find a job. I just want to thank all four of the representatives of President Obama who are here. We are very fortunate that we have President Obama in the White House, and we're very fortunate that we have the type of people that are serving the national level that truly want to help in our community. So thank all four of you. I'm going to suggest that they could hang around for a little bit afterwards, perhaps to answer questions, so that we can get you right on schedule to your 10:30. This is Senate time, so we're a little bit. Thank you all very much.
Can we give them a big hand?
I hope that this was worth the wait.